The Indianapolis Colts, Jeff Saturday, getting the dub in his first game as Colts head coach. They beat the Raiders 25-20. Not sure how much you put on Jeff Saturday in this game for the win. I really, honestly, Aaron, I want to talk about the Raiders because they lose this game in a game where a lot of people thought the Raiders would win because Jeff Saturday, everyone was down on him. They lose. They fall to 2-7 now. I don't know what to say about the Raiders. Maybe you have words. You're the analyst. Where are we at with the Raiders? Where are we at with Josh McDaniels as the head coach? Like, is it an overreaction to say that Josh McDaniels could be done after this year? Like, where are we at with the Raiders?
I'll be honest. I'm kind of in between because I don't think it benefits the Raiders to keep recycling through coaches. This is a problem the Raiders have had. I think that the Raiders need to have some stability there, and I think that's been part of the culture problem in Oakland and then now Las Vegas. So I'm not a fan of saying he needs to be fired, but there definitely needs to be some serious soul searching in the offseason. This team was supposed to have gotten better with the addition of Davante Adams. They were supposed to have gotten better with the addition of Chandler Jones. And it seems that they've went backwards. Now you run the risk of next year losing Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is the best player on their offense, him and Davante Adams. And it's clear, like when their offense was going yesterday in the middle of that game, the second and third quarter, who was it? Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams. Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams. Everything else doesn't work. I think Josh McDaniels is kind of lost his mojo of play calling. Maybe it's the head coaching thing. Maybe it's his offense is stale. They're not very dynamic, but they have the players to be dynamic. I don't know. Offensively, they just don't wow me. And I think we're seeing a play caller that had some success in New England for a long time, was super creative. And he's just not that. He's just not that here. And I don't know what the difference is other than maybe his style of football has changed and he's not adapting with it. Yeah, I have serious concerns about the Raiders. I do. They're not a good team right now. They're not. You can't pick them to win games because they're not a good football team. However, I am not going to let you do what you did. You are not going to gloss over Jeff Saturday and the Indianapolis Colts. Saturday deserves a ton of credit. Well, you said this game is about the Raiders, and I'm –
Well, I didn't say that this game was about the Raiders. I said I wanted to start off with the Raiders because they're falling into an abyss, and I think that one of the big reactions today from a lot of people that I've been seeing is talking about whether or not Josh McDaniels should be here at the end of the season or not. And I think that's something that's very interesting to me about the Raiders, and we will get into the Colts. I will talk about them, is the fact that if you were to look at the stat line here, and think about what we say all season long. Davante Adams, 9 receptions, 126 yards and a tutty. Josh Jacobs, 21 carries, 78 yards and a touchdown. Like, if you were to look at those stats, you would have thought that this would have been a Raiders win.
Yeah,
like that's what.
Stats. How about what I just said for 5 games already? How many yards did the Colts rush for? Like
that's
200 yards rushing again. If you run for 200 yards, you might. It's rare you lose. If you ran for 200 yards in 10 games, you probably lose once or twice. Like, the defense didn't play well. So you can have all those great offensive numbers from great players because stats are just stats. They rack up stats when they're falling behind. That stuff, when you watch that game, the Colts for the majority of the game, for the beginning of the game and towards the end of that game, were dominating that game. Over 400 yards of total offense. They were 6 for 11 on third down. They ran the ball effectively. They didn't take many sacks, which is what we talked about with them giving up. They didn't have the penalties that the Raiders had. Like, all the key statistical data were on the Colts side, and then you have your great players on the Raiders side having good games.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, they should have won. Well, no, they just did what they do in every game. Davante Adams is always going to play great for the most part. So is Josh Jacobs when he gets the ball. It's the other things that matter, and the Raiders don't have it. The Raiders just don't have it.
Which can then turn your focus to Josh McDaniels and that conversation that we had. But let's talk about the Colts. Let's talk about Jeff Saturday, his first game as Colts interim head coach. The last head coach with no college or any professional coaching experience at all was 1961. And that coach got the win. Jeff Saturday joins that. Jeff Saturday now joins that list. And hold on, let me set the scene. Let me set the stage for the Colts here. You got Jeff Saturday coaching in his first game after no coaching experience whatsoever. You have the surprise turn of the century, a big wrestling move, in my opinion, a big-time WWE-esque move here of Sam Ehlinger is supposed to be the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future, and then all of a sudden, warm-ups are happening, and we're like, by God, that's Matt Ryan, and he's taking snaps with the ones, and then he starts this game, and no one expected Matt Ryan to be here in this game, but he was, and he started this game. We get Jonathan Taylor's return, and he kills it. Where do you want to go first when we talk about the Colts in this one?
Well, first of all, I'm tired of the conversation about the no coaching experience of Jeff Saturday. I don't care. And I know this is people gonna call me a sellout because I'm black and blah, blah. I don't care. Listen, I'm a black man who's coached football at the same level as Jeff Saturday, high school. And guess what? If I walked into a building and somebody told me, hey, I want to give you the coaching job right now to the Indianapolis Colts, guess what I'm going to tell you? Yup, sign me up. Like, it's not Jeff Saturday's fault. You want to get on Jim Irsay and them for giving them the opportunity? Whatever. I don't care. I've gone through this in my own personal career about people saying you can't have a job because you don't have any experience. It's the dumbest conversation I've ever heard. That experience is great, and that can be a determining factor, but you cannot tell somebody that they are not going to be the best person for the job because they don't have the experience. And I think that is the biggest misconception in all of every industry, every single industry. Go ahead.
It kind of just hit me. All these people that are referring to like hating this hire of Jeff Saturday as the interim head coach because he has no experience. If you look at it, all these people are analysts on these shows, former football players, former NFL guys. They got hired not because of their analyst experience, not because of their on-cam roles. Like we talk about it in this industry all the time. You and I were like, you and I are never going to be able to really make it as analysts on an NFL show because we've never played in the league. But it's because of that. And it's like, okay, they played in the league, so that gives them the credit to become an analyst, and then they work through it.
They know the X's. They know the X's and O's, but they've never been on TV like that before.
So, but now Jeff Saturday gets the job, and it's like, oh my God, what are we doing here? We can't have this. But those same people that are complaining about that got their jobs because of that same thing.
Exactly. This is the hypocritical. This is what we do in sports. Because I've never played a game, I can't possibly know. Because I've never coached a game, how could I be possibly the best coach for the job? Listen, we've watched coach after coach get hired 20 times and be unsuccessful, and that man gets another job because he's got experience. And we've watched young guys come in here and take the league by storm. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm not here to say Jeff Saturday is a great coach. But you know what Jeff Saturday did? He stood up on that podium. He said, I've seen what winning looks like. I've been around winners. I know how to lead men. And I bought right into that. I said, you know what? I'm with it. Let him have his opportunity. What is his first move as head coach? Already playing with the media. Says that Sam Ehlinger's the starter, and on game day, boom, it's Matt Ryan. The best move was bringing Matt Ryan back because you know what? He knew he had no chance of winning with Sam Ehlinger. He knew that Frank Reich should have never benched Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan was healthy, so he said, we're going back to the guy who has experience, MVP, Super Bowl experience. And what does Matt Ryan do? Plays like the guy that should be under center because he should be under center. So all the talk about the Jeff Saturday stuff, it's just people wanting to be out there and say, I don't agree with it. I don't care if you're Bill Cowher who didn't like it. I don't care if you're the analyst on TV that didn't like it. If you were given that opportunity, you would take it. And you would think that you were the best person for the job. And so it's very hypocritical for people to come out and talk shit about Jeff Saturday when he has a resume in this league. This isn't me getting hired and never been a part of anything in the NFL. Okay, so I want that conversation to go away, and winning will do that. Do I think they're going to win a lot of games? No, but I think they're a much more competent football team with Matt Ryan under center. And I think Matt Ryan can stabilize them to be good enough to where we look at Jeff Saturday and said, you know what? They're a lot better now than they were when they were with Frank Wright. And Frank Wright's been a head coach in this league. So I just want to shut that narrative down. But the best thing Jeff Saturday did was say, I'm going to Matt Ryan. Like, I'm going to go to the guy that I know has been in situations that can get me W's, and that's what we're going to do. And I'm super happy for Jeff Saturday. Super happy for the Colts because I was expecting a lot from them this year. I still don't think they're that good of a football team. But with Jonathan Taylor back and Matt Ryan under center, you have a chance to win games.
This may be an overreaction. I might ruin everything we just said by talking about this, but I don't know if they're completely out of it. And I this may be me. I held on to hope with this team before, and I was like, okay, maybe they'll figure it out. And then now they're 4-5-1. But we see what the Titans are doing, and I mean, is it? I guess their schedule is a little, their schedule is the tougher. The tougher one. That's why I didn't want to get into me saying they have a shot until I looked at their schedule. Eagles next,
but they can beat Pittsburgh. They can beat Pittsburgh. They could beat the Chargers. They could beat the Giants. They could beat. They can beat Dallas if Dallas give them 200 yards rushing again. They can beat the Texans. They can go. I think they can go about 500. They could be 9-8, 8-9. And I think that would be a success for
8-1.
Jeff Saturday, or whatever, 8-1.
Yeah, they got that tie that's nagging them, but they do move to 4-5-1. Jeff Saturday picks up his win in his debut for the Indianapolis Colts, defeating the Raiders 25-20.